Hey everyone, this is Cameron from Renegade Animation, the co-host and editor of the podcast at Renegade Pop Culture. If you like what we do, please give us a like, a follow, and a rating on Apple Podcast, or wherever you listen to us. We are everywhere. If you can, consider supporting our Patreon. That way we can keep doing what we love and talking about the wild world of animation. And now, on with the show.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Renegade Animation on the Renegade Pop Culture Podcast Network. My name is Mike. I'll be your host for this evening. Joining me, as always, is the animation guru himself, Cameron.
Howdy, howdy.
And joining us for the first time on this podcast specifically, we've got Brock.
Hello, resident DMC nerd who literally just got back from meeting Dante, Virgil, Lady, and V at a con literally yesterday.
Perfect timing.
What great timing.
Because that is exactly the main topic of today's episode. We are talking about I'm going to assume the first season of
I hope so.
Of Devil May Cry. But before we get there, last week was CinemaCon, and believe it or not, we actually have quite a bit of news to go over. So, Cameron, where would you like to begin?
Well, obviously they showed off some stuff for the Lilo and Stitch remake that's coming out. Kind of curious to know how it's going to do when the most recent remake is floundering in the water. Not because of its lead, y'all. They showed a new clip for the upcoming Pixar Elio, and that one's been going through a lot of production delays and change in director. And I'm very curious to see what exactly happens there with Elio. They've also revealed some new characters for Zootopia 2 with Ke Huy Quan and Quinta Brunson joining the cast, with Quinta being Dr. Fuzzby, what are they called? A quokka, those cute little animals from Australia. And Quan is playing a snake called Gary the Snake. You know, fitting name. Obviously, what came out, it's about to be out tomorrow, I think. Well, as of recording this, is the documentary about the making of a Goofy movie called Not Just a Goof, which will bring on pretty much the major names of the production and alongside the voice cast, which that's exciting to hear and such. I can't wait to see that documentary.
Oh yeah, same.
And among Lionsgate's nonstop parade of John Wick projects, we got word that they are making an animated prequel film, which at first it's like, I don't know if I want to see a prequel film, but it is being directed by Shannon Tyndall, who did the amazing Ultraman Rising and Lost Ollie, and did the original production story of Kubo and the Two Strings, with a script by Vanessa Taylor, who worked on The Shape of Water and Hillbilly Elegy, but we'll forgive that. That sounds pretty cool. An animated John Wick film. I assume it's going to be pretty much like Devil May Cry here, without the sword-play and demons, or, literal demons. Then Paramount also updated the new Avatar film to called The Legend of Aang, The Last Airbender, with the return of Steven Yeun, who, if fans would remember, played the very first Avatar of the franchise, like in chronological history. And of course, they showed new footage for like the Smurfs and the SpongeBob movie Search for SquarePants, and talked about how Mutant Mayhem 2, the sequel TMNT film, is going to be out in 2026. Always a lot of fun stuff. I am still very much dreading the Smurfs movie. I don't know if y'all have seen the trailer at any point in the theater, but every time I see that trailer, it is just constant, shriveling up, oh man, this looks terrible. And
I'm starting to see that trailer more often now when I go to the movies, and yeah, I honestly dread it every time I see it.
But a lot of the bigger news came from Warner Brothers Animation, where they gave us updates with the Cat in the Hat theatrical feature that is getting released next year in March, with Alessandro Carloni and Erica Rivanoja as the directors, and Bill Hader as the cat. Which, is this like the first time Bill Hader has been in anything since the ending of, oh, what was that show from HBO that,
Barry?
yeah, Barry. It seems like we just haven't seen him. It's like he took a break from the spotlight and such. And funny enough, Quinta Brunson will also be in the Cat in the Hat film with Bowen Yang, Zadal Gomez, Matt Berry, and Paula Pell will also be in there. They also,
Guys,
yeah,
you forgot the hit classic film that Bill Hader was in.
which one?
You forgot that he was in the box office smash hit If.
God, really? Oh my God.
That was legitimately the last thing he did since Barry.
Ooh, okay, man. I mean, do what you can these days.
What a cast in that movie.
Yeah, man, just all major parts. Then they also gave an update for the next Dr. Seuss film, Oh, the Places You'll Go, for 2028, with John M. Chu as the director, with Jill Colton, with a screenplay by Rob Lieber, and original songs by Binge Pasek and Justin Paul. So that's going to be interesting to see. Locksmith has a new animated film called Bad Fairies. By the way, this is the same studio that did Ron's Gone Wrong for Disney back in 2021, for a July 2027 release, with Toby Marlowe and Lucy Moss being the people in charge of the music, because they were behind the Tony-winning Six, with Centaur World, Megan Nicole Dong as the director. If you haven't seen Centaur World, that is one of the great cartoons of the 2020s so far. Margie Claus, interesting. Holiday musical comedy for November 5th, 2027, Melissa McCarthy. And, I'm going to be curious to see how they change up the Santa Claus mythos. And then one of the more interesting films that people are looking forward to is Dynamic Duo, which is being done in a multimedia process of using puppets and other forms of animation. And someone showed the puppets that were made by the studio, Swaybox Studios. And you look at those puppets and it's amazing what they can do. They are eerily creepy in how expressive they are, when, most people are used to the Muppet look and such, which will be released in June 30th, 2028, where the film will star Dick Grayson and Jason Todd. Oh, and it's going to be directed by Arthur Mintz and by Matthew Aldrich, who worked on Coco. We're getting a new Flintstones movie, Meet the Flintstones, that's going to be weird. I don't know, man. It's like we haven't really gotten any Flintstones stuff in a while, actually. Oof. But
we were supposed to get a Seth MacFarlane Flintstone series way back in 2013, but that project was dead.
Yeah, that never happened. It was weird, because I think if Seth MacFarlane made it today, if he wasn't so busy producing the new Naked Gun movie, which looks great, he probably would do a better job with it. But I am curious to see how Aaron Horvath and Michael Jelenic do, because they were the directors behind the Super Mario Brothers movie, and they're also the two guys who worked on the Teen Titans Go to the movies, which was an underrated gem of 2018. But maybe you two can answer this riddle. Why the hell is Warner Brothers showing off a Looney Tunes movie?
Because they hate their fans.
It's like, this always happens when a new regime comes in during production of whatever's getting made. They always hate it because it's not going to be credited to them, and they want to either write it off or cancel it. I mean, that's what happened to that show, The Critic, where both times it was brought to life, new regimes changed, and they were just like, ugh, no. But it's so weird. It's like, what are you doing, Warner Brothers? You just gave up Coyote versus Acme to Catch-Up Entertainment. And now you're saying, oh, we're going to do a new Looney Tunes movie, when the last one y'all made was like one of the worst movies of 2021. So, I don't know, man. The film industry right now is in such a weird spot. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's something weird is happening across all the studios.
Oh well, but that was a lot of the news that we had from CinemaCon animation-wise.
One last thing. Beyond the Spider-Verse has a release date.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be June 4th, 2027.
I'm excited.
Remember when that was going to come out a year after the earlier movie?
Yeah, it was supposed to come out, like, it was supposed to be like a continuous release of like,
Yeah.
and then the whistle was blown about the terrible animation production side of things, and people were saying like, oh, they want this out next year. That is in no way going to happen. We are not even close to.
I would love to have known what form that movie was even in at that time before they finally went, oh, wait, this won't happen.
And it's too late.
Because that was way too close for them to be like, oh, wait, we don't got 6 months to make 90% of the movie, or like what happened.
Yeah, no, exactly. I assume this is because this is how they're going to get treated better. They're not going to go through the whole nonsense that happened with the last movie where Lord and Miller were continuously wanting things done even down to the last minute when it was going to take months to get anything done. You think they would have known better by the point of making this movie, but whatever. But that is all for our CinemaCon news. A lot of interesting and promising projects, and I hope they're all good. I think I'm least excited for the Disney stuff, but mostly because I've been so turned off by their work recently. Honestly, like I've told Mike this, Brock. Wish was the first time I walked out of a theater. I was so pissed off about how much I did not like it. I went up to the ticket counter and bought another ticket to go see Godzilla -1.
Holy shit.
And I was just like,
Wow.
no, I am not leaving this theater in a bad mood. I will spend $12 additional and get me in that Godzilla movie. And then I left that movie happy.
Wow. Yeah, it's been the closest Disney adjacent thing that I've watched was Inside Out 2.
Yeah, no, and it's just like Disney is in a weird spot right now where they're kind of kneecapping their creativity and their teams for no reason. Wondering what they're going to do with Zootopia 2 has me a little worried because of what happened with Zootopia, where it came out, was loved, but now people are kind of like, I don't know. But, things change and who knows what's going to happen. Mike, did you have anything that you were looking forward to the most from all this news?
The thing I'm looking forward to the most, there's two things. One, the John Wick prequel, because you and I both love what Shannon Tyndall did on Ultraman Rising. And if he can bring that level of action to the world of the Continental, then it sounds like we're in for a good time. And the other thing, obviously, dynamic duo, because I don't know if we've seen anything on the big screen quite like what Waybox brings to the table.
It just looks cool. Like, it sounds interesting. So hopefully Zaslav has done enough damage and people are like, let these projects come through. The last thing you let happen was the Ultranites, and we're losing money on that thing hard. So I don't even think it's in my theaters anymore. I think it got pulled after a week.
Yeah, same.
I don't regret missing it, so because I got to see the Looney Tunes movie in theaters, and that was great. Let's get to it. Let's slay some demons. Let's eat some pizza. Let's listen to some new metal. Let's talk about the 2025 Devil May Cry series. Now, first quick question. Have any of y'all seen the previous Devil May Cry TV series? The anime series that was like, golly, a decade or so ago now?
2007.
Yes.
Brock, what did you think about that show?
I liked it.
I remember not liking it as much. I remember watching it and I was like, I want to see Dante be in the show, but then it just seemed like for long stretches of episodes, it was just like, where's Dante? Where's the Demon Slayer? Where's all the cool action? Do not treat this like One Punch Man. That is an entirely different thing to do. I want to see Dante.
Here's the weird thing, though, and it's a lot of people a reason why some people did get mad. Dante is essentially what One Punch Man is as a character on steroids.
Actually, yeah, that makes actually perfect sense.
When they describe the character, I believe it was Itsuno that says this, you're playing a slasher film, except you're the slasher.
Yeah, that tracks.
Yeah.
because there's a big thing in the intro, Devil May Cry 5, where Dante, Lady, and Trish get the holy fuck beat out of them. And that's when Nero walks in and goes, Dante's having trouble with something? Who the fuck is this? What?
I forgot about that.
And yeah, it's one of those things where when you enter a game with him, you're just wondering what you get to kill on the way to the problem because he's going to solve the problem. Like, I've told people in the past, the amount of just not caring if they died, Virgil and Dante get in fights. And in the end of DMC3, there is a point where Dante cleaves Virgil in half through the front, out the back. By the time the sword leaves Virgil's back, he's healed.
Wow.
Like Devil May Cry to me was always like the original spectacle action series. Just I am impressed that I was able to survive like 2 different times of almost maybe going away, like with Devil May Cry 2 being is it still the most polarizing game in the series, or is it still that reboot that Ninja Theory did?
Here's the thing. Devil May Cry 2, if they would have not made it so that you could auto-juggle enemies with guns, that game would be a lot more well-known. Because, Mike, what you don't know, guns were not considered the powerhouse item. It was the other weapons you got, and guns were combo extenders. And then other people were like, the gun should be the bip-bip-bip. And then it was just basically, if you shot a person with a gun, it auto-juggled them in the air until they were dead. Then you got to the next one, and it auto-juggled them in the air, and they were dead. The reboot that Cameron is talking about would be a 9 out of 10 if it was not called Devil May Cry.
Mm.
Yeah, I remember it.
It plays well. The mocap's amazing. The story is political. But the problem is, and it's a thing where some people got irritated with this, and it'll get into the subject of why we talk about it. The main tenets of Devil May Cry when it started was Capcom was out to make a character that was, well, it started off of a weird version of Resident Evil 4, which spawned like 3 different games. But the core tenets of Dante was, we are making an awesome action hero who does not need to swear, drink, smoke, or have sex with tons of women to be cool. We are making a cool character who is cool for the sake because he's cool. In the remake, in the very first scene, he drinks, smokes, and has a 3-way with angels from a strip club.
I remember that.
Yeah, people were a little irritated.
I still remember the cut scene where Dante gets like a thing of like a wig or something falls on his head, and it's just like, and it's like his iconic white hair, and he looks at it and he's like, huh, not in a million years. And it's just like,
you know, the best part about that, they bring that back up as a joke in 5 and bring it full circle.
It's been a while since I played Devil May Cry 5, so it says that's funny. And
yeah, they pull a lot of stuff in there. Itsuno was like, everybody gets a cool thing in 5, even you reboot people.
I remember then, like when Devil May Cry 3 came out, it was like, everyone's like, it's really fun, it's good. It is way too hard for its own good, which then got its own re-release that...
Do you know why? 2 options, but the problem was they glitched or screwed up the American version somehow and made the base version as hard as the hard version in Japan.
Oh, that makes sense.
And then the harder version was even harder than the harder version you had in Japan.
Ooh.
Couldn't you play Virgil in that re-release also, or am I thinking of a different game?
You could do it in all.
Okay.
All of them had, other than the reboot, DMCs didn't have DLCs. They had definitive re-releases that they added Virgil as an extra character in.
Exactly. So,
and they did it in 4, but they also added Lady and Trish, and they did the same thing with 5. So yeah.
And just a quick question though for this show: is this like its own timeline, or is this
1,000%?
Okay. I was having questions about continuity as I was watching this because
I'm gonna tell, like, this is basically a lot of characters in this are based off of the manga prequel, like Enzo, the little dude.
Oh yeah,
he's from the manga only, and so is the rabbit.
That makes sense.
I haven't read the manga in fucking forever, so I don't remember exactly what the rabbit does. But the thing is here, and what people started getting irritated with, what I was fine with because it worked. The rabbit in this thing, other than the like being on the other side, like, and then helping the refugee demons back, has the exact plot line of Lady, Mary's father, in the timeline version of this in DMC3. In this exact game, because the DMC games are not in chronological order whatsoever, in 3, which is when Dante and Virgil are the youngest, this giant demon tower pops out of the earth, and then Virgil's at the top of it, and this guy named Arkham, who is Mary Lady's dad, pops up and is manipulating Virgil and Dante throughout it, as he also plays another character named Jester. And then Lady goes to try and kill Arkham because he killed her mom in a sacrifice to like bring all this shit around. So she hates demons because her dad killed her mom for like demonic purposes. And then she gets to like demons because she realized Dante is a demon, but is fighting for holy purposes and wants to protect humans and actually has a genuine good side to him.
Right.
There was no demons are refugees coming over. It was, this one has humanity and there's actually a purpose to it. And he has some screwed up family stuff. He's not trying to just go kill something. And they fight for a while, but there's that. And then he's the one trying to get the 2 amulets and the blood and the Force Edge to get everything out because he wants to steal Sparta's energy and become him. Because if you get it full wielded at the end of the game, he becomes Sparta for a little bit.
Right.
So it could not be more different. The plot lines are there, just all the parts are.
Gotcha.
Well, here's the thing. It's like, it starts with like Dante assuming Virgil's dead. So to me, that reads like the earliest part of the timeline. But then they do this thing where it's just like, I get why they do it, but it just made me laugh a little because I mean, I'm not a continuity person with Devil May Cry. I stopped caring about that. But the big villains throughout the show are the rabbit, which is from, like you said, the manga. Then you got the dragon plant lady from Devil May Cry 4. Then you got the fire and wind duo from Devil May Cry 3.
Agni
and then the night dude, which I think is from 5.
The night dude is from 5, which is, Mike, I'm not trying to make your head spin, but in 5, Virgil takes his sword, which is known for splitting things, cleaves himself in the chest with it, splits into 2 parts. One becomes V, and one becomes the main villain of 5, this giant demon, because he splits his demon in whatever parts. And then when Lady, him, and Dante get their asses beat, Dante gets kicked, I shit you not, to the other side of the county that this town is in.
Oh.
And sits there for like 4 months. And then Lady and Trish get basically stuck inside husks and turn into the enemies that Nero fights and Dante fights. Lady becomes Artemis, and then Trish is stuck inside Cavalier Angelo, which is that thing that he fights. So that thing is not even remotely what it's supposed to be, but it's a cool enemy, which I was fine with.
No, that's the thing. I was just like, you know what? These are cool demons. Fine. Just put them in there. They're doing their own thing.
Mix and match them. Exactly.
No,
they're
like,
demons that are known in hell.
I'm not making fun of this. It's just more like, it's amusing to me as someone who's played the games more casually. It's just like, this is from this and that game. And shout out to some of the few Easter eggs that I could spot. There is the one demon hunter who looked like the co-lead from Devil May Cry 2.
It is Lucia.
And then all the cops here are dressed like Captain Commando. So if you're a Capcom arcade guy, you know who that is. But most people don't. Yeah. So, but he may have also shown up in Marvel vs. Capcom also as a fighter. But
maybe I'm not.
But all the special demon police squad guys are wearing Captain Commando.
Darkcom?
Yeah. I didn't spot any of the other Easter eggs unless I'm missing.
I could list a bunch if you want me to.
The only one that I noticed immediately, it was a line that Enzo said, like, all your jobs go horribly wrong.
The second worst job you've ever given me. What? Like the Raccoon City job? Okay, this is the third one.
Love that line.
So in this universe, Raccoon City exists, and it's exploded, and zombies are real.
Screw it. If that means Dante can slay some zombies, cool. But give me a game like that, dude. I'd play that.
That was the first time I think another Capcom property that was not an amalgam of people just being there, like NBC referenced Resident Evil. I was like,
oh god, that just brings up so many questions. Then Leon and Dante are talking. Leon's just like, yeah, I fought a lot of zombies. Those are the scariest things in my life. And Dante's just going to be like, cute. Okay,
yeah,
then.
Sure.
Sure.
My dad's essentially the good version of Satan, man. Like,
let's talk about the plot. So what happened is, like, this rabbit dude that is wholly based on the White Rabbit from Alice in Wonderland, just with a blood pump in him, and the suavest voice brought to you by Hoon Lee.
Hoon Lee?
Yeah. Steals the sword of Sparta and is trying to find the two sides of the amulet, the one from Virgil and the one from Dante. And throughout all this, Dante gets mixed up into everything because this would be a boring show if he wasn't. And then it just ends up with Dante trying to take down this white rabbit and save the day while also messing with the dark calm people. And like, I was curious to see it because this is also created by the same guy who gave us the original Castlevania series on Netflix. And because of just like what happens with Castlevania, I was wondering if that was going to carry over into this. No, they're both completely different adaptations of video games and such, where Castlevania became more story driven with a focus on character development. DMC is just like, yeah, we know you want to see some monster slaying, some gore, some violence, some quirky quips from Dante, who in this version is voiced by Johnny Young Bosch, Vash Stampede.
Oh. Nero from the main game.
Oh, God.
That took some getting used to. I will tell you that. Holy hell. But I clarified this with Ruben Langdon, the guy who voices Dante over the con. For DMC3, himself, who got Dante, Johnny Young Bosch, who got Nero, and Dan Southworth, who got Virgil, all auditioned to play Dante.
Oh.
Yeah. Dan Southworth said I could quote him on this just so I could say it whenever he goes. He's like, quote him on this, and Ruben could give me crap. He got the job because he was the producer. They were all giving themselves so much shit. Oh, that was the best. They had just had a corner at the con where they were just screwing with each other the whole time. It was awesome.
Love it.
One of the best experiences I've ever had.
That's awesome. That's the fun stuff at cons, stories that I love hearing about and such.
Yes.
I mean, like, to me, while I never thought as like the Devil May Cry universe being super methodical or expansive in a way, I did like how they set up the story. Even, I mean, we'll talk about how the third act reveals everything and such. I liked the story. It found a good balance between character dynamics and action, and found some really funny laughs. I still got a huge kick out of the Fire and Wind Demon trying to put in a DVD into like it's like a school. It's like a school day where the teacher doesn't want to teach, and he's like, you know what, we're putting it in a movie, and it's just like
the hardest I laughed was at that. Who are we shooting at? I thought that was so damn funny.
Oh gosh. And I like the performances here. Like, Johnny Young Bosch is quippy and fun. It's definitely very different if you know the different performers of Dante, and especially if you're used to Johnny Young Bosch as Vash the Stampede. So it's like, oh, Vash grew like up a little charisma and such, and he drank it. Lady or Mary Arkham, I thought was interesting. Like, Brock, expand upon this for us. What was all of the hullabaloo about this?
This is the legitimate gripe with people that I'm never going to say they can't have. Lady in the original, you barely ever heard her name Mary, and then she gets Lady because the entire time Dante basically didn't know what her name was and just called her Lady. So then, like, because that's all he saw her once, she tried doing whatever. He tried helping her up off of a grappling hook. She shot him in the head. Like, there's a bunch of stuff where they just had quarreling little sister, big brother energy for forever. And then it's shown that she's a very capable human, but she's not such a god-level badass that she can take down Dante with no trouble and stick him in handcuffs and treat him like his little bitch boy at times, which she does in this show. The other main thing is, and it is a problem that I do see sometimes with trying to make females badasses nowadays, they feel like she has to swear a whole bunch and be the definitive 2025 girl boss kind of thing at times, which Lady very much isn't in the games. She is harsh with Dante at first because he's a demon. Fuck you. This demon stuff got my mom killed. Right. And then eventually she sees that this dude's got a soul. And at the end, she makes a comment at the end of the game. Dante and Virgil have to fight and he's left in hell. And Dante's crying because his family's fucked up. And then she relates to him. She's like, are you crying? And then brings it all up. And that's how they get the whole line, devil may cry. She's like, even a devil may cry if they lost someone they loved. And they have this bonding moments. Throughout it, she's cocky, but she's not outwardly cocky. She's more so like, I can handle myself. I'm trained. But she still has moments where she struggles at first and she gets this development. In the show, she makes a total 180 personality-wise. That's the thing I'll say. Her story, her mom gets killed because of demon stuff, and then she makes her way and trains herself to hunt. Darkcom's not there, none of this, whatever. The nonstop swearing and the over-the-top, I'm the baddest bitch in the room energy kind of stuff is something that Lady never outward... Swearing didn't exist whatsoever. The outward, I'm the girl boss energy shit, she just exuded it because Lady was awesome. She never said it.
Right.
She was very much just the, you saw her like, that girl's a badass bitch just because I'm looking at her and she presents herself as a badass bitch who's a demon hunter. They felt like in the show, it felt like they were saying a lot more than they were showing. And that rubbed people the wrong way. But the biggest part was the language, because that is nowhere near how Lady acts whatsoever. Ever.
Now I have a better idea of why people took issue with Lady. Because before I started watching the series, I was a little bit worried that this was kind of another situation Scott Pilgrim takes off, where the marketing kind of suggested a different series than what the show actually ended up being. And I was kind of worried that we were going to have another case of the marketing sort of misleading the audience and Lady becoming more of like the central character than Dante himself, but that's not the case. People just have like genuine gripes with how the character's portrayed.
And Cameron did say this, which he is right, but it is on the smaller end. A lot of people, the chuds that are what they are, were like, well, she looks more like man than lady. But that's just what it is every now, because, Western people just make women unattractive on purpose.
No.
Her face looks identical.
She
legitimately identical, and she's in a skin-tight bodysuit of a person who has militaristic training who would have a more athletic build from militaristic training.
And she carries around a giant bazooka with a giant knife attached to it. So it's...
Yes, but also, if they're going to bitch that they never used her actual outfits, in episode 6, which, by the way, holy fuck, do more episodes like that.
Yes.
They show her walking into Darkcom, having shown that she used to dress like herself before she got to Darkcom, because she walks into Darkcom's agency after she's shown devil hunting because she's wearing her outfit from DMC5.
Now, it's just funny that, I am so glad that there are, actual, legit criticisms, and it's not, a bunch of losers who are just like, she's not wearing the short shorts, that's why it's bad. And it's just like, oh my god, that's not her defining trait, you dumb fucks.
No.
God. No, I totally understand that. To me, it's she still felt very lady to me, for at least from what I've seen, but
she gets very close to it at the end. She is way more somber.
I'm just glad that it's just oh, wait a minute. You mean the criticisms are actually worth listening to? What? This is so rare.
From some people. I still love the Devil May Cry fandom, but good God, the worst side of it came out with this show. Holy hell.
I'll say this. I did love how they pulled a Kong Skull Island bit near, in the middle. I think it was episode 3 when the white rabbit grabs the pendant and such out of the police van, and the scholar, he was not going to come out of that alive, but he was going to be a badass, and he threw a grenade and the white rabbit just popped it back into the car and went the door.
Fuck.
That's exactly that scene from Kong Skull Island where the captain is walking out there with 2 grenades. He's like, yeah, I'm going to sacrifice myself and be big, and the big bad monster just tail whips him into the side of a cliff.
That was so funny. That was so damn funny.
It found a good way to balance out the humor and the everything that you like about Devil May Cry with a compelling story. And the White Rabbit just oozed personality, because sometimes I feel like the big bads of Devil May Cry can sometimes falter, mostly because Dante is such a big personality that just being the stoic evil demon guy, it's just okay.
And you don't get to see them that often. in the games normally.
No, I remember the first game was just like, if I recall, they just used 2 bosses multiple times, or at least you encountered them. Like
3.
3. Yeah, it was like the big spider, the big hawk vulture thing.
Okay, I take that back. 4.
Yeah.
Because you had, shoot, I'm blanking on his name for the spider, but you had Nemesis, the big, I believe it is, I'm blanking on his name, the big blob. Then you had Griffin, and you had, oh no, the Panther.
Oh,
blank Shadow. Then and you fought the three times, and the spider whose name I'm blanking on twice. But you fought them in all different arenas.
Phantom,
and then Virgil
Griffin,
as Angelo, you fought 3 times.
Yeah.
Phantom, yes.
But
and you don't see Mundus until the very, very end.
Right. And I liked that they found a way to make... You were basically following Dante and then the Darkcom crew, which apparently one of them is based off of Tiger King himself.
Interesting.
Maybe. One of them was based off Nightwing.
Yeah, clearly.
It's like, tell me you're not a fan of Nightwing with that. What are we doing? Why do you have a Domino mask on right now?
Yeah, Ninja. So the Darkcom crew are made up of Sentry, King, Patriot, Anders, Ninja, and Lady. It was just so weird to see King, and I'm like, wait a minute. And I forgot that Studio Mirror animated this, and Anders' animation, like his facial animation, it was just like, oh, right, this used to be the same studio that animated the Boondocks.
Yep.
But man, this show has a lot of pretty big names in voice acting, like, of course, Johnny Young Bosch, Hoon Lee, Scout Taylor Compton, Chris Coppola as Enzo Farino, made what I was going to assume was like the most obnoxious character in the show into someone who's like, he's a scumbag, but he's also like got at least some good intentions in that little body of his.
That his performance definitely reminded me of Gilbert Gottfried, and if he were still alive, I 100% guarantee he would have voiced that character.
I mean, like, Gilbert Gottfried voiced Johnny Cage's agent in the recent Mortal Kombat animated film, so...
Lord, I forgot about
that. But yeah, we
also had Kenny Omega. Erica Lindbeck is in this, if I remember correctly. Yep. I think she was Mary's mom.
Sunkrish Bala's in this. John Grease, who plays President Hooper. Okay, so does this show take place in like 2004? Because this is like the most 2004 or like mid 2000s era kind of thing. The president just feels like he's like a playoff of Bush, but
what Adi said exactly is he wanted each show to feel like the respective game and time it came out in. He wanted this to feel like 2001, 2002, 2003 when Devil May Cry 3 came out.
Yeah, that makes sense then, because
that's why the music choices are what they are.
Freaking Evanescence wrote a new song for this, and it's pretty killer. Not gonna lie,
it is.
We're not gonna get out the voice cast without mentioning the fact that this is probably the last time we ever got to hear Kevin Conroy, and one of my favorite things he's ever done.
He's really good as Vice President Baines.
This like Christian nut job who he's incredibly imposing, very just. Has like this aura of just like, you don't want to mess with this guy. There's something going on under this, like behind the scenes with him. Like,
yes.
And golly, it is just a sad time of just like, oh man, this is one of the last things we're going to hear the late great Kevin Conroy in. But man, he does a great job. Talk about an actor that just goes out swinging every single time he voices someone.
This is what makes people forget just how long animation takes. He passed away in 2022.
Yeah, that's true. Ooh.
They recorded these lines 4 years ago. It's probably the last voice recordings he's ever done.
Right. No, man, yeah, this was going on for a while, yeah. No, But yeah, we also got like Ray Chase, and if you're into like Malignant, like if you're a fan of that horror film, Ray Chase plays the demon thing in that movie. You would have heard him. You would have heard him in other things also, but we also have the voice of Ghostface himself, Roger Jackson, who voiced Plasma. Was Plasma ever in any of the games?
Plasma's in 1. In DMC 1.
Oh.
He's a shapeshifter that turns into like a bat, a cyclops creature. He has like 3 or 4 transformations, but a lot of people sometimes didn't see him because he would get glitched out on the steps of the castle when you first see him.
God.
Yeah, he's in DMC 1.
Yeah, Carrie Walgren is in this. She plays Echidna. Ray Chase plays both Agni and Rudra. Yeah, Jason Martin.
That was one other complaint people had. In the video game, Agni and Rudra's spines were the swords and their heads were on the hilts.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But I'm
you do what you
whatever.
Can. Yeah, that's the kind of splitting hair complaint that we don't need.
Even though he doesn't show up a whole lot, Virgil is voiced by Robbie Damon, who is always just a great presence to see. He brings
perfect choice.
Like he brings the stoic nature of Virgil to life, and you just feel the I am going to just follow through with my plans. I am going to make it all work. And it's just a great performance, even though if Virgil is not the show a whole lot. Though it was funny when they show that cutscene with the White Rabbit talking to that knight dude, and it's just like, oh yes, the blood of the other brother. And it's just like, yeah, he's standing right in front of you, dude.
Yeah. Mike, that's another thing. Virgil, that thing that he is, that's not something he transforms into normally. That thing is called Nello Angelo, which originally was supposed to be called Nero Angelo, but it got lost in Japanese translation.
Oh.
But and that's why Nero's called Nero. Originally, when I said that like Dante and Virgil fight, he gets kicked into hell before they shut the door, and then Mundus like tortured him for like 15 years and turned him into Nello Angelo. And at the end of the fight in the first game, like the third time you fight him, he takes his helmet off and you find out that that's Virgil. You don't know that the first time you play a Devil May Cry game.
Oh.
That's one of the bosses you fight multiple times.
Gotcha.
What was something that y'all liked about the story? Like, do you have any like moments? Do you have like any tidbits or anything that...
I mean, the entire storyline overall, other than I will agree with people, Dante being handcuffed and like tranked several times irritated me because when he's like 5, he could kill a small country if he wanted to. Yeah. But anyway, no, the actual like follow through lines with like him figuring it out and not being in the actual situations he's in, like not wanting to, because again, he doesn't know his dad's a demon. In the games he does, here he doesn't.
Yeah.
So not knowing he has the demon side and not wanting to embrace it because he's killing demons that took his parents. So that was cool to actually see him fighting it, then embracing it. But just everything with now, can it be considered ham-fisted? Yes, but whatever. In the games, you have a good demon, which is Trish, who was meant to disguise herself as Dante's mom to get close to him, to attack him, but then she goes against Mundus and it proves that demons can be good.
Right.
And here you actually show that there's good versions of demons that don't want to do stuff and just exist. And I was okay with that. That's not a thing that are in the games whatsoever. The like refugee demons, that detail I was perfectly fine with.
I mean, like in Go Nagai's Devilman, there was always like a subsection of like community of demons who are always just like, no, we just want to live, man. No, we'll talk about that in a moment. But I did love how it's just like every other character would tell Dante that it's like, you're the son of Sparta. You're the son of Sparta. You are part demon. And then like when it finally hits Dante where he's just like, okay, yeah, I'm the son of Sparta. Everyone's just like, yeah, we told you.
We know that. Thank you. We're aware. Yeah.
No, I just thought that was I thought that was a funny running gag throughout. But I did find myself actually caring about the Darkcom folks, and it was kind of sad to see them all get wiped out. Oh, well, not almost all of them, but I mean they did throughout like 1 or 2 episodes, and
yeah, I had a bad feeling. I was like, all of you don't have last names. You're all dead.
Oh, yeah. I didn't.
You all have code names. You're super dead.
I didn't realize that until got horribly killed off, but that was certainly something. I honestly just really enjoyed, outside of what you said, like Dante getting handcuffed or incapacitated or whatever, when he's like actually doing his thing and being Dante, that was the enjoyable stuff.
The whole plane sequence was great.
Oh, yeah.
How it starts with like the confined space of him having to fight the 2 demons, and then the demon causing the plane to explode in Air Force 2. It's not Air Force 1, by the way. It's Air Force 2.
I was in my brain. I'm like, have they ever said Air Force 2 in anything?
No. So that means the Harrison Ford action movie happened in this universe because that's what happens in Air Force 1 in the end.
Also, I really love the Iron Man 3 reference when the plane blows up and everyone's like free falling.
Yes, get them all parachutes.
Yeah.
And then I love I thought it was funny, but B, like Dante having to deal with him being on the demon side and confronting a human. When he gets close to that guy with the parachute, he's like, no, he's just, take it! I'm trying to save your life! Yeah, I thought that was fantastic.
Humor never felt jarring, because as much as I do like the Castlevania stuff, sometimes it felt like they would throw in a joke because it was just like such a heavy series as, like, at least the first one. I haven't seen Nocturne, but like the first Castlevania series became very philosophical and heavy with its dialogue. And then sometimes they would throw in a joke, and it was just like, okay. Here, it's Devil May Cry. You expect a laugh. You're supposed to laugh. Dante is supposed to quip. He's supposed to be a smartass. And he's supposed to be the cock on the block.
The only thing, and this is another drawing lines thing where there was a genuine complaint, in the games, Dante is cocky and he does make quips about stuff. The problem was, and I will get it, but it didn't bother me as much. There's like a meter in how a person's cocky about everything.
Mm-hmm.
There's a line here that's the middle. Dante's here. Deadpool is here.
Yeah, I could see that.
This one metered a lot more on the Deadpool end, because like jokes Dante would make is he would say something like, when Cerberus pops up, he goes, "Oh, come here, puppy. Take you for a walk. Come on, let's go. I bet you're the best in show. Come on, let's go, buddy." And then not like, "Your mom calls me a superhero." Like, there was some jokes like that where it was more on the other end, and that will come with time, with saying certain things. Like even Audie, before the show came out, right here's where I'd make a really cool joke, but I don't have one and I'm blanking, was a very Deadpool thing that was not smart with them to lead with. And he's openly said that we get that, and that will change moving on as he gets older, which is smart to do. But that was the only other genuine complaint. But then there's stuff like that he would say, which he's actually said. Like when that trio of demons were harassing that chick and her baby in the...
Right.
He says, look, it's the Three Stooges are back in town. That's a line he says about himself, Lady, and Trish, if you pick them all as a team in NBC3. So, like, there's exact lines that he said. There's just, they went overboard sometimes.
No, I understand that.
Yeah, it's still funny, and he's supposed to act that way. It's just the longer you go along, it's harder to not fall into that, because that's how a lot of quips are written, period, nowadays.
We're in the media landscape in general. We're living in a post-Deadpool world.
Yeah, I just write it off as just like, this is, for now, the earliest part of the timeline. So, of course, Dante's going to be a little more like, I'm making this up on the spot. I'm not going to hit it out all the time. And then he's going to probably go buy a joke book or a quip book, like at the Barnes & Noble off screen, and then be like, okay, I'm going to use this one. This one's pretty good and such. No.
An interesting thing I learned, speaking of like lines or whatever, not trying to go all in with the games or whatever, but like Ruben has been way more in charge and making sure that series goes the way it did than I thought. Like, it got to a point of where like he got the English people for like Power Rangers and stuff to no action, because his company Just Cause contracted all of it. Like when they worked for work and did all the English translation and brought it over. And then they were talking about it at the con, where like when they sat down for table reads in 5, Faye, the girl who voices Nico, and the guy who voices Vio, name I'm blanking on, it's something Danford. I'm blanking on it right now. I believe it's Brian Danford. But they were sitting down, and then the scripts got out, and Dan, Ruben, and Johnny all were going, "Nope, that doesn't work. Nope, that doesn't work. Nope, that doesn't work. Nope, that doesn't work," with black permanent marker crossing through the script. And they're like, "What are we doing? What's going on?" And then they all kind of look up and go, "Oh no, they give us the Japanese, and then we make it work to where it's more westernized in how we feel the characters go. We've done this since 3. And they're like, "You can do that with the script? You're allowed to do that?" And they're like, that's just how trusted they were to make sure the lines fit the characters, that by that point they were like able to just throw the script into Shredder essentially and redo the scenes themselves.
That's like, the kind of privilege.
Wow.
That's the kind of privilege you earn when you're like the custodian of a character for like multiple years.
This year is the 20-year anniversary of 3.
Wow.
Everything I liked is like 20 years old now, and I'm just like, no, I'm not that. Please, I'm not that old. Stop.
You're not allowed to tell me those kind of things.
So let's talk a little bit about what may kind of split people down the middle with the story. So the whole goal that we find throughout the whole show is that by episode 6, we learn the origin of the White Rabbit, which I do love the art style change that they do for both sides, where you have the cool, like, watercolor childlike innocence of the demon world with the more like manga graphic novel look of Lady's backstory, and just how you find the two, their plots and destinies separate and split of just like how their lives went, like the directions they went. You find out that, yeah, the demon world or hell, or I forgot what they actually call it.
Micaiah.
Yeah, Micaiah.
Yeah, Micaiah. And that there are like demons who are there who just want to live and survive. And unfortunately, because of the demon lord that is ruling over everything there, they are living in a dangerous and literally toxic environment where they cannot breathe. A lot of the demons have either missing limbs or some kind of like skin infection throughout the whole thing. And our lead, the White Rabbit, who you find out is actually a human.
Oh my God, he's hot! I saw that comment so much when the show came out.
Yeah, I knew that was going to happen.
Yep.
Throughout this like whole thing, you find out that like Lady's like father, like when Lady was younger, you think it's about to go into like a Batman situation where her parents are going to die young, but they encounter a demon. The dad gets hyper obsessed, and throughout a lot of trial and error, finally makes like this demon blood thing and inject it into himself. That ends up causing him to go out of control, kills the mom, and Lady's whole mansion burns down. Whereas the White Rabbit, like, just bad childhood, like going through foster homes left and right, and then finding a portal, getting into the demon world, and living among them peacefully, and then one day finds some kind of crystal gem. Does it make portals or does it find portals?
It allows him to make a machine to find like the tears in the wall, essentially, where he can slip through.
Right. And then he's just like, wow, this is great. This is amazing. Like, now I can help bring these people out of here so they're not run by a tyrannical dictator. And this is where, like, you find out that, like, what the whole thematic commentary is. It's the White Rabbit is not doing this to take over the world. He's not wanting to become the big demon lord bad guy or something. He just wants to help demons cross over into the human world to survive, because even though people are going to be like, well, you think the human world is bad? And he's just like, hey, it might be bad, but it's better here than there.
The air isn't poisonous.
Yeah. And I understand what they were going with the immigration story, and then like what, especially the timely release of it all and what's going on in the world right now.
Very timely. I think just the reason why episode 6 is my favorite is because, just from an artistic perspective, I love the contrast between like the more like the dour black and white like manga style of Mary's childhood versus the romanticized art of the demon world. It can be a little bit on the nose, like what they're trying to say about these two characters and their situation. I just thought from the execution of it all and the way they use Amy Lee's song Afterlife is...
The thing that I like the most is that it worked.
Yes.
Coming from a hardcore DMC fan, if you would have told me that you're going to make an anime about this show, like however long ago, and by the way, we're going to make a story about we're going to make an episode strictly about the villain and Lady's backstories, and there's going to be no dialogue in it, I would have punched you in the face.
by far one of the best episodes of TV so far this year. Just a monumental, like, you feel for both sides, and it's tragic on both sides of things. And yeah, I understand people complaining about how kind of like blunt and obvious, and then just maybe some unintentional implications about like whatever immigration commentary you want to put this on. With like, oh, they're demons, and it's just like, oh, so you see them as demons, and it's like, nah, I mean,
if this would have came out 6 years ago, we would not be having the same discussion.
No, it's interesting because I don't, or Brock, maybe you can explain this. I don't recall a lot of Devil May Cry plots being this overtly political. Like,
it never was. Politics was never even a thing. The government didn't exist in Devil May Cry, other than them sending in armies to kill demons and them failing horribly.
This is a new concept for Devil May Cry.
It is like, this isn't exactly the same thing, but it's another thing that kind of irritated people about the reboot. Because in the reboot, Dante and Virgil are Nephilims. They're half angel, half demons, because their mom was an angel instead of a human.
God.
So it, honest to God, worked in the story. They just writ it so
I'm just saying, it just sounds like a DeviantArt thing. Oh yeah, my OC is half demon, half angel. Like, please don't steal.
It was a cool detail that they made to differentiate it. And then it became, hey, Mundus is a corporate official, and there's a demon that's behind the news that's exactly like, fuck it, we'll do it live. And then,
I remember that.
And then there's a company that makes this drink called Virility that kind of basically brainwashes people into slump states so that they don't have free will. And then we kill Mundus, and at the end of it, and like Virgil's like, yes, we have now cleared the pathways so that we may rule. And Dante goes, what? You didn't talk about that for the entire show. What happened there? But government officials, no, that, like I said, they would send in soldiers and then they die. The thing that is in Devil May Cry was some religious things. Not with this, like, you don't hear God ever in it. It's hell exists, well, demons exist, and then he went to hell, and then like Sparta was a good dude amongst the 99 percentile of bad demons.
Right. What were the villains in Devil May Cry 4? Were they also demons, or they
they were a evil cult.
Oh, right.
Hold on. This is going to sound really great. So in 4, there is this town called Fortuna that worships Sparta, a demon that is just the most demon-looking dude ever. He's a big old insect man that looks like a demon. But they worship him as this savior, which he was because he cut off the demon world. But what they were was people that were trying to get the stuff from him so that they could open up the demon realm and use the Yamato, which is the world's, it's this thing that splits things. That's what its main things it does. And they want to use the Yamato to open up the demon realm and bring things back. But the other part of it is he wants to get all these power that Sparta had so that he could become this giant, I can't remember what it's called. It's Sanctus something, but he wants to become this giant mythical, like, own version of it. It was basically a religious cult that was using demonology.
Right, because I remember like Devil May Cry 4, like some of the big baddie, like enemy types you had to fight were like these big, like heavenly angel knight looking lancer dudes, and
yeah, they were called Angelos. If that's a little on the nose,
just a little.
That's like the closest thing you hear to like heavenly stuff. These creature calls Angelos.
Oh Lord.
So yeah,
no, it's interesting because then it. Like, yes, the White Rabbit is seen as sympathetic because he just wants a better world for his people, even though he's also taking demons and doing experiments on them. It's the Ultron situation where, yeah, Ultron may have a point if he didn't want to murder a bunch of people, but...
Which I'll give Ultron credit. He saw human internet for roughly 10 minutes and wanted to nuke the world, so...
Understandable.
Yeah. And then it's like, yeah, I understand the weirdness of it then being like, oh, Dante then slays the White Rabbit guy after he turns into a big, muscular, burly dude. And
that's just exactly. Like, you have to fight a big demon at the end if it's not Virgil.
Exactly.
Like, even if we're going to talk about how appropriate that was, in 3, the guy gets Force Edge, gets the 2 amulets, and turns into into Sparta for a little bit, but then his human body can't handle the power, so he just turns into the thing from the end of Akira.
Right.
A big gelatinous monster that him and Dante and Virgil have to kill, because in their own words, I'm taking this power back because you can't handle it.
No, so like the White Rabbit is killed, and then Dante's just like, yeah, we're gonna seal back the demon realm thing, and it's just like, yeah, it's a little like, well, it's like, okay, well, I guess all the innocent demon bystanders in there are just gonna suffer, but then we get the twist of the vice president getting everything, and then just going full on war on Iraq on it, like genocide.
Now, when people say stuff in this thing is on the nose, the one I cannot argue is them invading the demon realm for resources while American Idiot plays in the background.
I mean,
that was not on the nose. That was through the front of your face.
You were basically getting your nose broken by that point.
yeah.
And having like putting a giant demon skull on top of your Jeep like it's a freaking like hunting trophy, or pulling children out from under tanks.
Yes, to quote Matt from Two Best Friends, it was either Matt or Pat that said, that is not on the nose. That is telling the person you're going to punch them in the nose as you're punching them in the nose.
Oh, man. And then like Dante gets like, that was Dante at the end, right? Who gets like frozen and such. Yeah.
Yes, that was Dante who gets cryo froze or whatever.
No, it's like, I understand people finding the overall third or ending being a little messy. I get it. But yeah, I think it was always going to be like, it was always going to go down the route of, yeah, demon bad people are bad and such, but humans are much worse. Like, not. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Here's the thing that everyone who watched this show is misunderstanding, and they did not say, because all y'all either didn't watch the show or you watched 2 episodes and got the wrong fucking idea. The main idea of this show is not that Christianity is evil. The idea is that one guy is a fanatic and he has it wrong.
No, exactly. That's why I brought up Devil May Cry 4, because it's just like you saw those big Angel Knight dudes and they weren't really angels. So it's using the imagery, the power, and such to do like mass destruction and such. This is what happens when you have extremists and fanatics at both sides. Like Mike and I talked about this with Common Side Effects. You have like in that show, you have the big pharma company, but they're not saying modern medicine is evil. They're pointing their guns and teeth at the people who are like, let's charge $5 million for one insulin shot. 2.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the other side where it's just like, yeah, not having to deal with big pharma is like a good alternative, but you also need to have some kind of safety net, some kind of quality assurance to make sure that your drug is not going to cause people to hallucinate and start shooting people.
Yes. Here's a good example. We all, on my channel, did a fresh takes for a little show called Neon Genesis Evangelion. Everything in that entire show is named after something in the Bible. Did anyone walk away from that show going, the main idea is that Christianity is bad?
I can't believe that came up. No, it's
the death of media literacy is very real.
I mean, like, Mike's favorite movie wouldn't be Prince of Egypt if he thought religion was garbage. Like, if that was the whole point.
Exactly.
Or, like, was the one true thing? No, it was a conflict between brothers, which is, funny enough, a huge thing in Devil May Cry, which is constantly a conflict between brothers. And
they do not know what their purpose is, whether they should control everyone through power or protect them.
No, so, yes, it's messy. Yes, it's on the nose. I get it. Does it work still? Yeah. Like, I mean, yeah, the American Idiot part, when I finally realized, like, oh, that's what the lyrics are? Like, after, like, years of not fully listening to them, it's like, huh. Alrighty then.
And when they showed the soundtrack, they had everything covered, and they had Green Day and Redacted. And then when that scene started playing, I'm like, oh, dear God, please don't have it be American Idiot. And as I was saying the statement, the guitar riff started playing, and I went, oh, no.
I mean, like, yes, I do. I understand people want more nuance and subtle and stuff, takes in stories and such, but also people are missing the point left and right all the freaking time now.
That is the reason why I think subtlety is wasted on people who are are not even pretending to pay attention.
I mean, that's why the substance
No.
was great. It gave no fucks about being subtle. So I'm fine with that. Be
Yes,
as
and to
blunt
go
as you
back to Neon
want.
Genesis again, you can have bluntness and subtlety with your
It's
angel
all
references.
like depending on the execution. And yeah, so I do hope there, like, maybe they could have had a few more episodes to just let things flesh out and such. But otherwise, like, I hope there's a season 2. I think there needs to be a season 2.
I do
Like,
too.
don't leave us on a cliffhanger here, y'all.
Every problem with the season 1 can be legitimately fixed in season 2. Every single problem.
Exactly. So, well, I mean, who are they going to get to replace the great Kevin Conroy, though? That's going to be
Actually, about that. So Ian James Corlett did some additional dialogue for Baines in episodes 3 and 8. I guess like filling out the performance that Conroy couldn't finish. So if Baines is coming back, probably just going to have Corlett take over that role.
The other option, which if they have Corlett do it, fine, because I couldn't have told you that any of his lines were done by someone else, is the guy who voiced Batman in Under the Red Hood and in Young Justice, Bruce Greenwood. Because that guy delivers lines just like Kevin and has a very similar tone and cadence for stuff. So they're either replacing him or the guy who's the villain at the end, who is the villain from DMC 2, which is like 40 years after DMC 3 in continuity of how the fuck you want to keep track of that. That's a villain towards the end of Dante's tenure. But like they could also have him die in season 2, which I don't want because that character's awesome. But those are their options.
I mean, I feel like VP Baines is going to be the bad guy. Like, he's going to gain all this power. He's going to take over the demon world, or like at least try to make a deal with the ruler there. And then he's going to be like, yes, I have all the magnificent power. And Dante's is going to be like, oh, you got your Viagra. Good for you, buddy. Now I'm going to cut you in half. So
you're a human. As soon as I get to you, you are dead.
The action, which is dynamic, like Studio Mirror can do a lot of great stuff. Sometimes I haven't been as impressed with their recent work, but there's a reason why they're still like high on the pedestal of like action shows. This is why like Powerhouse Animation and Titmouse takes inspiration from Mirror for when they do stuff like whatever Powerhouse does, and then Vox Machina and such. Like, it's such an influential studio, and I think they also did the Avatar stuff also, so...
It was Mir and Studio Poirot who did Avatar and The Legend of Korra, so...
Nice.
Yeah, no, well...
What?
That whole thing was a production nightmare because they had they were forced to go from Studio Mir to Studio Pierrot. So,
Oh,
yeah, Nickelodeon, man, they suck. But anyway,
they do.
One last thing I want to talk about. We were throughout this mentioning some songs on the soundtrack. I just want to give a shout out to the songs that we didn't mention. Like for the opening theme, it's "Rollin'" by Limp Bizkit.
I couldn't fucking believe it.
I love that, man. It's like, yes, if you're going to do if you're going to set your show in the early 2000s, you got to give Devil May Cry some Limp Bizkit, or else you're not doing your job enough. Or that one scene during the chase where Papa Roach pops up out of nowhere. It's like,
that was the best use outside of 6. That was the best use of music in the entire show. That was amazing.
My favorite was actually the first fight set to Guerrilla Radio by Rage Against the Machine.
That was pretty good. The one song on there when I went, where the fuck are they going to put this in the show, was Butterfly by Crazy Town.
Yes.
Like, what are we? What?
I could not believe that was the place where they put it. I'm like, oh, okay, you're going there.
Of course, a smarmy douchebag in a car would listen to Butterfly and thinking he was the coolest guy. Like, hey, lady, when he watches literally lady walk up, he's like, want to ride? I need you to ride on this dick. And then she's just like, get out of the fucking car.
Fucking car. Like that. Those are moments where the swearing from Lady would have been okay. Like, those lines were perfect.
I got to give a shout out to Power Glove, who composed most of the score for the show. And just overall, the music in this was incredible.
Yeah, for those that don't know and have played it, Power Glove was the people that made all the music for Far Cry Blood Dragon.
Nice.
Yeah,
which is
that makes
amazing.
sense. Oh, man. Like, this was a good show. I was like I was going over the year of like what's coming out this year with Mike, and I was worried that it's like, man, we didn't really get a whole lot last year's, and it sounds like this year we weren't going to get a whole lot either. And then we got Common Side Effects, and now we have Devil May Cry, and now I'm feeling a little better. But these two shows are going to stay up at the top until something else joins them, but who knows? But
yeah. And people need to realize, and I realize this fully at that panel that I listened to for them, if this show doesn't work out, you're probably never getting any Devil May Cry anymore.
Oh, no. It's one of those situations.
It's one of those situations where Ruben, Dan, and all of them have openly talked, and they're like, because Ruben's company Just Cause does the mocap work for Capcom. They're hired for them to do the mocap work. So he is in there. And at them, they asked, like, what would you want out of 6? And they're like, well, I'm going to be very honest with you. I don't know if there's ever going to be one. Because they point blank said, the godfather of it, who took it over did 90% of it, Itsuno, is no longer at Capcom.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
All the moments, all the funny little quirkiness, like Nico almost hitting Nero with the van, all those little funny moments, they openly said that it's all 100% Itsuno-san, who was the guy who knew exactly how to do this. Like, Kamiya started it, but they're only contracting Kamiya to do Okami, and he wants to do his own stuff. He doesn't want to do whatever. Yeah. With how long these games take, it's very real that 5 is the last Devil May Cry game.
Because I was wondering, like, didn't Devil May Cry 5 sell really well, or am I...
It did incredibly well.
So...
But here's the thing. It did incredibly well for a Devil May Cry game.
There's the catch.
These games, which, again, it's Itsuno being on it, character action games are very hard to make good and to do better at, because you need to understand what makes they're the most like nitpick shit ever, because you need to know how to make the mechanics feel just right in this. The fact that Devil May Cry 5 is as good as it is a fucking modern miracle for how well that game turned out. And then these games take like 6 years to make. He left and went to another studio because he probably would have spent the rest of his professional career as a video game maker only making Devil May Cry.
Oh, that's tough then. Man, that sucks, man. Like,
it does.
This is the problem with like a lot of entertainment industry stuff right now, and especially like with what's going on in Japan. There's no like training classes or like mentorships happening, where it's like when people say like, well, man, they don't make anime like they do back in the day anymore. And it's just like, yeah, because those people are no longer around and are not given the time, or they don't have the talent to do so because nobody's there to train them or to work off of them and such. So you think he would have had like a protege or something by now or something?
Well, that's the problem with a lot of these bigger Japanese franchises, is they have the guy that makes them, because they like the entire franchise is based off of that dude's brain. Like that's with, I can't think of his name, but the guy who does all the Tekken.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Oh, Takarada. Yeah. Like, they probably wouldn't make Tekkens if Takarada wasn't there, because the guy is just so ingrained to where his brain gets on a disc and ships it out. Like, that's what it is. And like, you can make games that are good like that, but it's just the key elements of what makes them what they are is that dude's personality. So you can't train someone to have their personality. That's the biggest hurdle point.
It's interesting, yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah. What other studio? What was the studio that the guy left to go to?
I've never heard of the studio before. I believe it's newer. But here's the thing: he's making a brand new character action game that's going to evolve the thing. I basically think that he had other ideas, but he wanted to make his own character.
Yeah, they didn't want to just be like, "Well, can't you just make this?"
And that's like
Dante and such.
Yeah, and that's like Kamiya, the guy who made who invented Devil May Cry, went and started Platinum with Shinji Mikami, and then he created Bayonetta, his own thing over there.
And then Mikami left and then made his own studio and then made his own attempt at another Resident Evil. So,
which eventually turned out good, and then they shut the studio down because they didn't get them enough awards, even though they got a game that made them a BAFTA. But that's enough about really dumb decisions over there.
I guess my final question is, for people who have not played any of the Devil May Cry games, does not know about its legacy and its like hugely acclaimed franchise like games, would you say this is a good jumping off point for new fans, or do you think there's maybe a little more wiggle room that they could have done to make it more accessible.
Do you mean that they could watch this, never play the games, and be happy with it? Is that what you mean? Here's the thing. Not knowing the games from how most people criticize stuff now would actually be beneficial. But I'm not saying that the show is bad along with the games existing. Right. Because if you're not a hypercritical asshole, you can enjoy this show knowing the games. Because guess what? Cosplay the characters, have done multiple shits with it, done it on YouTube channels, Twitch plays, the whole shit. I enjoyed the show, you guys, because, you know, my head is not firmly inserted up my own asshole and I can only see 2 inches in front of me. But if you have not played the games, you're going to enjoy this, in my opinion. If you played this and then it wants you to play the games, it would be interesting to see what your feeling is toward the games with this being your starting point.
I agree. Like, that's how I felt about it. Because, like, yeah, as a more casual fan of the franchise, like, yes, I picked up on who the demons were and some of the Easter eggs, but I still enjoyed it as this cool action show that I could get into. And that's always a good thing, because sometimes I've seen things where it's just like, oh, this was made for fans and only fans. And it just becomes like a jumbled mess or something like that. And it's just like, sometimes I've jumped into things where it's like, well, I know a little bit about this. And then I left the experience being like, I am so deeply confused about why.
There's a difference between being I guess you can call it a tourist of a franchise that you're not familiar with. And there's a difference between asking questions because the thing you watched was engaging enough that you could like enjoy it, but you still want to know more about the world. That's kind of my experience with One Piece, because years ago, Cameron and I reviewed the One Piece Red movie. Mm-hmm. Like, there's that, or there's demanding answers where you feel like you're walking into this franchise and you have like no idea who any of these characters are. Like, you feel like you're walking into a forest without a map.
How people are treating this is what irritates me, because how people are treating this, Cameron, have you played any Resident Evil games?
Yes.
How people are treating this as if this show is treating the lore how the Anderson movies treated the Resident Evil lore. Because, sorry to tell you, those movies didn't even fucking try outside of the first 2. After that, they were just throw a dart at a wall and maybe that one will... Because it didn't follow storylines. After 1 and 2, they didn't even attempt the storylines. This got the storylines, did the characters in certain ways, changed their personalities a little bit, maybe more than others, but still, at its heart, did the same thing.
Right.
But, the like you said, the refugee demon government stuff wasn't there. That's their own personal thing, that your opinion's going to be your opinion. It's not doing that. Everyone likes to think this is, but it isn't. This is still a thing that is 95% accurate, and what your opinion on what that 5% is going to be different. This is what everyone's like, oh, it's fan fiction, whatever. They're like, hey, guess what? You know what else is fan fiction? Every time a new game is made by the creator, because he came up with an idea and wrote it, of being a fan of the earlier shit he wrote.
Mm-hmm.
No, exactly, man.
This would definitely be something I recommend.
Yeah.
No, it's just cool video game adaptations are happening now. And you could not get that way back in the 2000s, where you were just like, maybe they'll do well. And then it's just like, you get a Doom. So
I'll still give them credit for trying the first person part in that.
But still.
That was great. You didn't like Semper Fi, motherfucker? Are you telling me that wasn't a great line in a Doom game?
I'm just saying.
Which, we're going to mention bad video game things. Where is it? Where are they? I mentioned both of them were bad adaptations, but I'll proudly still have both of these steelbooks on my shelf.
At least those are fun, though.
Yes, they are.
Oh, man. Well, that'll be it for this episode. Next time, we're going to get extremely goofy as we talk about the 30th anniversary of the Goofy movie and the new documentary. So.
Oh yeah, definitely looking forward to that. But until next time, first of all, Brock, thank you for joining us for your official first Renegade animation podcast. Where can people find you online?
I was glad I could finally fit in one where I would actually know what I was talking about, because I don't watch nearly as much animation as you guys do. I give you a lot of credit. You can find me everywhere at OrganoidZero, mainly on Twitch and YouTube, which has been slacking a little bit because I've been busy covering a lot of shows and then working a ton. That will be getting back to more regular, I promise.
if you like cosplays and convention and such, you can follow me over on my Instagram at OrganoidZero, which I have my pictures up for my whole weekend with everybody, which I about lost my shit because Ruben Langdon was in my notifications liking my shit, and I was... But anyways, and then the other place you can find me is on the Athletic Geek 89 YouTube channel, where me and my buddy Eli have the Geeking Out podcast. We pick just one subject and go nuts about it for an hour.
Cameron, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Blue Sky at camsideView.biz. I have my own website called camsideView.biz, where I review animated films and shows from around the world called The Other Side of Animation. I also am a writer and contributor to Media Magpies, at your news destination for pop culture and media criticism. I also have a Patreon at patreon.com/camsideView. That's where you can find me.
And you guys can find me on various social media sites at Captain K42. You can check out my quick thoughts on letterboxd.com/CoachK42. And you can follow Renegade Pop Culture on Facebook and Blue Sky at Renegade Pop Culture. You can also find us on YouTube, on Podchaser. Consider supporting our Patreon at patreon.com/Renegade Pop Culture. Listen to all of our podcasts on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen. And last but not least, everything can be found at renegadepopculture.com. Ian escaped, so do we. That'll do it for this episode of Renegade Animation. We will catch you guys later. Peace out.